Hi and welcome. Lisa here for Trinity Stamps. Thanks for joining me. So I'm going to be doing a stenciled background again, and I can't wait to share it with you. I think it turned out so cute. But first, we're going to go ahead and stamp this little cutie from the Just For You stamp set and color her up. Now, I stamped her onto 80-pound smooth cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm just quickly going to touch on the coloring because the video is more about the background than it is the coloring of this image. Using R35, R37, and R39, I colored her hat in. Then for her hair, I just did a little Y21 and E33. And the bows in her hair, N6, N4, and N2. Now, you have to keep in mind that this image is not very big, so there's not much coloring to do to it. Skin tone, E00, E11, and E13. And the packages I just colored with BG49, Y21, and R35 because those are the colors that I'm using on the balloons. So I kind of want it all to pull together. I did come in with my white gel pen and add some details to her hat and bows. Just did a few little white lines across the center of her hat to highlight it, and then some white polka dots placed randomly on the hat and the bows. So I went ahead and I'm going to run her through my die cut machine with a coordinating die. Also, I trimmed down a piece of 110-pound cardstock to 3¼ inches wide by 8¼ inches high. And I'm going to be using that for my stenciling. Now I have the layering balloon stencil ready to go, have it held in place with some purple tape. I'm going to be using coral, turquoise, yellow, and green inks. You want to be mindful of where you're laying the ink down so that when you go to add more balloons, you don't end up layering colors that don't play well together. I almost always use dye inks when I'm stenciling. In my opinion, you get a much sharper image with the dye inks and stencils. So now that we have the first balloons done, we're going to go ahead and grab the next layering balloon stencil and line that up so we can get busy creating some more balloons. Now, lining these stencils up, super easy. They have etched lines in them so that I can just line that etched line up with what I just stenciled, and I know I'm good to go. So while we're stenciling, I want to talk a little bit of, give you a few tips, really. If you want an image to look like it's behind another image when you're stenciling, you have a couple of options. Notice how I'm avoiding the stencil there or the balloon there, the coral balloon, and it looked like it was behind or in front of that yellow balloon. If you avoid stenciling any lines over whatever it is you want to be in front, it's going to give you the illusion that whatever you're stenciling is behind the other image. I hope that makes sense. So masking off is a great idea if you don't want to, take any chances. I'm just kind of like, just do it. But you could use mask if you wanted to. And I end up using mask there and some tight areas. So it just makes things a little bit easier when things are a little bit tighter. Okay, let's talk these stencil trees here. Oh, you'll notice I started that tree up on the balloon. I had those balloons masked off. I want it to appear that that tree is behind the balloons, and I started it farther up. This tree is going to be behind the trees I'm stenciling now, and by starting it farther up on my panel, it's going to give the illusion that that tree is taller than the trees I'm stenciling below it. Always kind of be thinking one step ahead when you're stenciling and you're doing layers, and it'll make a big difference. This tree here, I wanted it to look like it was in front of that green balloon, so I just stenciled directly over the balloon. Now it's just a matter of coming in and adding more trees to go ahead and fill in the forest. And then we'll go ahead and continue to add our layers to this. Now, what I did was I used the same color ink, and every time I layered ink on top of it, it just darkens it up. I came in with my blender brush there, and whatever ink was left on there, I just went ahead and went over the whole area where the trees are. And it fills in any white space by doing that. It's only going to darken up anything on the trees. It's not going to do anything but darken those trees up. But then it does fill in that white space, which gives you the illusion that the forest is just full. Okay, so here I decided I needed something right there. That little area was kind of bugging me. So I'm coming in with just the very tips of a few branches. And what's going to happen when I do this, it's going to make it look like the forest continues off of the edge of the page and is just keeps going. She's pretty happy in her situation. Her party is coming along. So we need to go ahead and give her a blue sky for her party. Coming in with some summer sky ink, and I'm only hitting up the very edge of those areas that need this blue ink. And now we have a sky. Some streamers for our balloons with that gold gel pen. Now you even want to make sure that you add your details where the balloons would be knotted so it looks like those streamers are tied around that area. And I even come off to the side of that and do a little flick to give that a tail. If you want the streamer to run behind a balloon, just stop it at the top of the balloon and then continue it at the bottom of the balloon. Now we need to add some confetti to her party. And we're going to be using the Funfetti Stencils. And I'm just using my gold gel pen for this. If you saw the last card I did where I used the Funfetti over the balloons, I actually did the transfer gel duo and gold foil. But I decided not everybody has transfer gel or gold foil, and you can get some great results with your gold gel pen. So all I did was take that Funfetti stencil and lay it down and just color in the cutout areas of that Funfetti stencil. It's real easy to do. We added some liquid adhesive to the back of our panel. We're going to go ahead and add that to a card base. Some fun mounting foam to the back of our gnome, place her in the bottom left corner. Now I did go ahead and stamp that sentiment when I stamped her earlier. And I used VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I trimmed those down with my paper trimmer, added some foam strips behind them and placed them on the card. Now, of course, we need some confetti, gold confetti on our sentiment strips. So I'm just coming in with my gel pen and adding some little random polka dots to that. So I actually did two cards. The one on the right is the first card that I did, and you'll notice how the trees are all in front of the balloons. I didn't really think about like, oh, I should put one tree behind the balloon or whatever. I didn't play with it quite as much, and I used a lot of sequins on that card because I thought, oh, some gold party lights in the trees would be cute. And I realized not everybody wants all those sequins. So I decided, well, let's do a second version of this card and let's take the stenciling to the next level by making the trees look like they're behind the balloons and in front of the balloons. So that's really the only difference in these two cards is the stenciling technique was bumped up a notch and then I didn't add sequins to that second card. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed joining me today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments and I will answer them just as soon as I can. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you like the content and want to see more, just be sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified. Now, for more information about the products used, head over to the Trinity Stamps website. Have an amazing day. And again, thanks for joining me.